Yes, ma'am. I'm so sorry. Yes, of course. Please come to that front microphone. Is that correct?
Sorry, I forgot about
Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chairperson and Naming of Schools Committee. It is my honor to address you today as President of the Bellevue Owls Alumni Association. The Bellevue community proudly supported Bellevue High School for 49 years, but their true loyalty to MNPS has been demonstrated as the leading community of enrollment at Hillwood High School from 1980 until today. The mere announcement to build back in Bellevue kicked off the reorganization of our Alumni Association, which is now 750 strong and growing. Our school was and will once again be the cornerstone of the Bellevue community, and our alumni are committed to passionately supporting their beloved alma mater, financially through volunteerism, event attendance, and by sharing our rich traditions. The following school naming proposal comes with full support of the passionate Bellevue Owls alumni. We would like to see the return of the Bellevue High School by name and Owls mascot, not just to honor our alumni, but more so to honor a community of support that has never wavered for 90 years. The Bellevue and Hillwood alumni have been reinvigorated through the efforts of inclusion by Hillwood's Campus and Community Marketing Director, Cliff Mitchell. The Bellevue Owls alumni enjoyed their first homecoming game in 40 years on our old field, compliments of Mr. Mitchell and Hillwood's football program, who surprised us all in navy and white alumni tribute uniforms trimmed in Hillwood's Kelly Green. This amazing act of kindness gave birth to several modifications of our wishes for the new school. We would like to see our navy and white school colors accompanied by Hillwood's Kelly Green trim. This has historical value as well. These colors were shown coming together on the first 1981 Hillwood-Bellevue merger yearbook and coincidentally,
Thank you.
Bellevue's Chamber of Commerce.
So I know that you provided us some additional materials.
Yes,
I want to
ma'am.
make sure that I let the public know, and of course, everyone else that is here. Those materials are all available to board members. We will review them, and additionally, they'll be provided to the committee that's reviewing the names. So we will all look through those.
Okay, wonderful.
And I hope inside of that is your entire speech.
Yes, up
Perfect.
close. Yes.
Thank you. And I wrote down your suggestions.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. All right, next we have J. Kent Burklow.
Mr. Burklow's out of town and asked that I read a letter for him.
Yes, please.
Okay. As the Hillwood High School Alumni Association president, Mr. Burklow would like to express how thankful he is for MNPS and the Hill family for their land donation that gave birth to over 60 years of precious memories. Above all, we would like to thank the parents and volunteers that supported our countless academic, arts, and athletic events over the years. A strong surrounding community of support is the lifeblood of a thriving school. For the past 3 years, our alumni have been rejuvenated and inspired to begin giving back under the leadership of Hillwood's Campus and Community Marketing Director, Cliff Mitchell. He's also inspired the Bellevue High School alumni. Through this growing relationship, I've learned of Bellevue High School's rich history and their community's 90-year dedication to public high school education. Without faltering, these community faithful were unwavering in 49 years at Bellevue High and now 41 years in support of Hillwood. If you know much about the Hillwood community, you know that most residents 3 generations ago abandoned public schools and flocked to private school education. It's been sad to see the toll extracted on Hillwood High, volunteerism and donations. Frankly, the relocation of the educational base to Bellevue is long overdue. No clearer means to state a strong surrounding community of support is the lifeblood of a thriving school. As Mr. Burklow has communicated with fellow Hillwood alumni, it's abundantly clear that our school's season and time is nearing an end. Loyalty to the old building and token remembrance is more about nostalgia and less about involvement. Those wishing to give back will be generous under any name. It is for this reason, and in tribute of the continued loyalty of the Bellevue community, that we recommend the new school honor Bellevue by name, by colors, and by mascot. One collective means to satisfy the few Hillwood alum who have raised reasonable discussion would be to establish a historical tribute space within the new school facilities. There might be, for a myriad of purposes, especially memorabilia of achievements, a place to share alumni stories, and possibly a room for Bellevue and Hillwood alumni to plan events and organize ongoing support for the new school. We celebrate with the board and this committee the bold and exciting vision of investing in public education for many generations of students to come.
Thank you. And I know that that letter has been provided to
Yes.
all board members as well with those materials. All right. And last, it's Mr. Clifton Mitchell.
Sounds like 2 minutes goes fast, so I'll try to be quick.
It does.
I'm a native Nashvilleian, spent 30 years in national sales and marketing. My life was spent in loving Metro National Public Schools. My father's a 30-year retired Metro school teacher and coach. I come at this from a wide variety of perspectives as an educational consultant over the years, worked with school development with the Cambridge High School project, and I've worked with both alumni groups in great detail. It is true, the analysis of the Hillwood community surrounding us, invested in private schools. It is true that the current alumni of Hillwood, I feel, would give to our young people because it's the right thing to do. I feel the Bellevue alumni will be an amazing contributor in volunteerism and actively being part of events. But I have a twist on the recommendation of Bellevue High School that's been presented. The Bellevue means beautiful view from the beautiful hills of Hillwood. This new school is going to be sitting atop one of those beautiful hills. It is my request that we name the school Bellevue Hill High School. Bellevue after the community, Hill as a double entendre of where it sits, as well as showing respect for the Hill family for their generous donation for so many years to Metro Public Schools. And I feel that offers a new name and also pays great tribute to history. And speaking with Dr. Schaefer and all the parties involved, the number one goal is give the kids something new, but maintain a quality observance of history, and never forget that we have a 90-year community that has shown great loyalty, but also we have the Hill family and that kinship that the alumni will feel in seeing the Hill name a part of Bellevue Hill High School.
Thank you. I have to say, Mr. Mitchell, for someone that thought it would be hard, you did a great job. Congratulations. I appreciate that. So we will consider, of course, all of this input, and additionally, more community input will be requested and encouraged through some additional community engagement meetings that we're going to have mid-October. Those will be announced. To discuss that in further detail and really kind of go overview the steps and the timeline of how long this will take is Mr. David Profit, if he will explain to us what that typical timeline is. And while he's doing that, again, we're planning to have community input meetings in mid-October. So hopefully we can vote on this at the last meeting in October or in November. Is there anything you would like me to touch on about the policy before you speak?
I'll include those in the few comments that I have.
Okay.
Relative to timeline, there is no timeline other than what this committee and the board and Dr. Battle would determine would be appropriate. Obviously, you have to have the amount of time necessary for the community meetings, and that takes the segue into the policy, the current policy, which first and foremost indicates that the board has the power to name school facilities. Number two, then very simply put, that the director would seek input from school personnel, the Board of Education, and the public in general. So whatever that timeline is worked out between this committee, the board, Dr. Battle, and other staff, there is no set determining policy.
Thank you.
Okay.
To be really quickly, to refer back to the committee that needs to review the community input, so we'll say the Community Input Committee, is there a suggestion for how many people? It sounds like it should be about 3 to 5, but a smaller committee.
There is no specific number. It's whatever, at the end of the day, again, the director, depending on what venue she's soliciting information, it could vary from one to, to the other.
Okay.
The committee itself, whatever's most efficient for that committee. It could be, as you say, a small amount. It could be a larger amount, depending on the venue, I think would be the appropriate way to determine that.
Correct. And those will be internal members to be on that committee as well.
It can be.
Okay.
Again, as Dr. Battle, as the policy states, would solicit, input.
Yes.
It could come from other groups as well.
Okay. So the policy that we're referring to, in case anyone would like to review that, is 3.210, which is our naming of facilities policy. It says on line 8, which is item 3, that the director of schools submits his recommendations. The way that historically has been done is through a committee that reviews all this community input, whether it is from today, past input that Ms. Tyler, I'm so sorry, I almost said Abigail, Board Member Tyler has received, and of course, anything that Dr. Battle may have from an internal perspective and from a leadership perspective as well. Dr. Battle, do you have anything that you would like to add to that?
No additions, thank you.
Okay. So it sounds like we'll have a small committee that will review that. Again, we will announce a community meeting in mid-October. Are there any issues with that, Ms. Tyler, according to your calendar?
Ma'am, I have it cleared and ready.
Perfect. All right. Look at our agenda. I want to make sure that we have plenty of time for the upcoming PAC meeting, as I know we are up against a hard deadline for that. Is there any additional discussion from my colleagues that are present?
I would like to take a moment. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Let me recognize Ms. Poopa Walker.
I apologize for being late. I want to say to all the Hillwood people, I'm a Hillwood alum, and I'm excited about all this stuff. And we're coming to do the walkthrough on Saturday with alumni to the old building, so that's all.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Tyler.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a minute and thank our Bellevue Alumni President, Ms. LaTourette, and Mr. Cliff Mitchell, who has been doing PR for decades and really knows what he's talking about, how to bring communities together and help them be the strongest version of themselves. So I very much appreciate both of you and the things that you have done. And then if it's okay to request, I know that our school board member actually attends Hillwood High School currently, and I let her know ahead of time, so I'm not jumping this on her.
I appreciate that.
But if you would like to say something, we would love to hear your perspective as well, since it is your school.
Discussion is open to you.
Yeah, thank you. I would just like to say, hearing from our community input, that I feel that it's very admirable to see all of the different perspectives, especially as a senior right now, and I know I'm not going to get the new school. I think it's important to consider, especially because there's a lot more people who are going to be influenced by the Hillwood community. I came from Bellevue. I live in Bellevue. I came from H.G. Hill, so I understand a specific perspective in that manner. I do agree personally with combining the communities throughout history and just looking at the community support and what that influence would bring to Hillwood moving forward.
Thank you. We're so glad to have student perspective. What a happy coincidence. And also belated birthday to you.
Thank you.
Yes,
It
and
was her
then
birthday.
I would like to also just add that I will be reaching out with a survey for my constituents. So if I do not have an email address of somebody, you may email me at Abigail, ABIGAIL, .Tyler, TYLOR, at MNPS.org, or you can go to my website, abigailtyler.com, and there's a place where you can fill in and request to be on an email list. And if I have your email, when I will push out a survey to everybody whose email I have at that point. And then we will also have an in-person meeting in addition to surveys that we'll send out. So we're going to have plenty of opportunities to hear the voice of the community. I just want to reassure everybody that we're listening and we know how much passion that this excites in everybody.
Absolutely. All right. Well, be there no further business. We really appreciate everyone's time, and we will make sure to get the copies to everybody. I appreciate y'all being here. Be there no further business. This meeting is adjourned.